Yo, beautiful people, this is Nate here.
This Kev.
And yo, we are Games Music Life. So we're back to review this Nasir Jones project.
Yeah, man, Godson.
Lost Tapes 2.
Yeah, man.
Lost Tapes 2. Should the tapes have stayed lost, Kev? I'm not saying that. I'm just asking you a question.
You know what? My first question about this album was, is this the album that Khaled said was done, 3 years ago at this point? Maybe that's why it's the Lost Tapes too.
Maybe
you know what I'm saying? That's why it took so long. It got lost. Yeah, it got lost.
It got lost.
Yeah.
It definitely was an album I think was made before the Kanye project. I definitely think either it was done before, or some of it was done before, and then most of it was done after that or whatever. He got back in the booth because remember he was on that panel and he said another album was coming.
Yeah, I remember that. That was like a year ago though.
Yeah, so I mean this could be it. When you say lost tapes, like I always think of like a Raiders of the Lost Ark type thing where the album was actually lost and he kind of just like did some throwaways and would put on the album.
That's how I always view it.
That's how I always viewed it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Was that the case? But strictly on the music, listening to it. So Nas coming into it. So here's my thing with listening to a Nas project. So you got the Nas and Jay-Z debate. Everyone goes back and forth. They'd have a big debate or a big battle back in the day, one of the classic ones. So I always rank them together and rate them together against each other when it comes to projects. Mm-hmm. So we got Jay-Z's 444, which was deemed a classic by Games Music Life. Go check out that review if you haven't. So then I compare it to this, and it's not really a comparison to say that it could ever be, because 444, like I said, was a classic album in our eyes. So going into this one, I wondered if Nas could live up to that stature.
Right.
Now, he didn't do that. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get that out the way early. He didn't do the 444 level, but I will say I was impressed at parts in the album, and then at some parts I wasn't. Like, for instance, the upbeat songs, some of them I could have done without. Okay, I think because I do think that the album was just a little too long. I think that
it was like an hour.
It's too long.
Too long? Too much Nas?
No, not so much too much Nas. I don't want to say that because that sounds like I'm not a Nas fan.
Sounds like slander? Okay.
It sounds like slander. I don't want the Nas stands to get us again. I'm saying I wanted it to be about 30, maybe 32 minutes of music from him, and I think it would have been perfect. And I think you can condense this album down to about 32 minutes, and I think it'll be a pretty good album.
I mean, when he did that with Kanye, everybody complained.
Dude, that was 32 minutes of bad music, okay? You couldn't catch the beat. And I still say that Kanye finished the album and then gave it to Nas. Like, you like it? That's how it was. But this one, like I said, there was some track. First of all, Nas doesn't really need a bunch of heavy just acoustic, like just a whole bunch of instruments, I would say.
Okay.
Nas just needs like a saxophone, a couple drums, a couple scratches on the ones and twos, and you got a Nas track.
Okay.
Just make Primo do the whole thing, basically, is what I'm saying. Because on those tracks that sounded Primo-ish, he was in it. He was rocking. He found the pocket. On some of them upbeat tracks, it sounded like he couldn't catch what they were trying to do. But even on those, he was rapping. Yeah. I think Nas was like just talking about some things. He had a couple, tracks that had some really good content he was on. And it's like, I don't know, maybe I'm just going back to that Kanye project, and I just wanted it to not be that so much, and he gave us something better. But I do think that Nas can build on this, and he actually can give us a theme project or something that, looking forward to.
There's supposed to be more Lost Tapes coming.
Just make an album. Don't call it the Lost Tapes. Because every time I think of Lost Tapes...
But it's a series now.
Okay, well, it's a series. Okay,
Yeah.
because Lost Tapes 1 was pretty daggone good.
Yeah.
But what do you think, bro?
Okay, so, I mean, the first thing I did before I even listened to this album is I went back and I listened to Lost Tapes 1.
Okay.
And, kind of get me ready for Lost Tapes 2.
Okay.
Now, my first question is, I do want to know, when was this album recorded? Like, and listening to it, I could never really get a pulse of when these songs were recorded. Was this old material that just got moved over and, kind of compiled on a new album? I mean, he talked about stuff that was relatively new, but I don't know. I can't really put my finger on it. But you know what? In listening to Lost Tapes 1, it was the exact same thing.
Oh, wow.
Like, listening to it, I thought that Lost Tapes 1 sounded a little old. Okay. But it rather than sounding like stale, it just sounded vintage, if you know what I mean.
Okay, I got you. I'm with you.
And I felt like Lost Tapes 2 followed a lot of that same format. So in regards to these two albums being a part of a series, it made perfect sense for me. Now, with that said, Nas's biggest Achilles heel has always been his production.
Yeah.
This album actually made me appreciate the Kanye album, Nasir, from last year a little bit more, actually.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't go back and listen to it, but I did appreciate hearing Nas on more updated or, kind of more punchy production with Kanye than what we got on this Lost Tapes album. But all in all, I thought the songs were a mixed bag. Some of it I didn't like. Some of it I really liked. Nas is always going to deliver as a lyricist. That's no question. Right. Yeah, man. Like for me, this album was just kind of it's cool. Like it was a nice little release.
Yeah, it wasn't nothing like. I wasn't crazed about it. I just think that the super duper Nas fans are going to be like, okay, this is the best thing ever.
Yeah,
they're
absolutely.
going to say that.
Yeah.
And the people who are just okay on Nas, like, oh, it's not bad.
It was solid.
Yeah, it was solid.
You know what I'm saying? That's just kind of where I felt with it. It was solid. But now I will say, if there is different context to the album, like if it was old songs or whatever, maybe I feel a little bit different. Maybe because the song towards the end, matter of fact, the last track, "A Beautiful Life," that sounded like it was supposed to be on "Life Is Good."
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it did.
Like, so it's theme. Like, are these just scrapped ideas that just made it onto this album? If they are, I definitely think that it kind of changes the tone of the album because it does get a little jumbled. Like I said, it's a mixed bag of songs. So if that's what happened, maybe that makes a little bit more sense for me. But in totality, the project was solid. Yeah, it's just solid. I mean, Nas, good rapper, okay production, some really fire beats on here. Actually, I did love that "Beautiful Life" song. His storytelling was A1, even though it's a little weird hearing Nas tell them Queensbridge stories. Yeah. It's like, man.
Well, that's what makes me think it's a little old, though, too.
Me too.
Because I can't think that he's still talking about that
Queensbridge.
in 2019.
Yeah, like, you ain't out there.
No, at all.
I mean, maybe he is. I don't know. I don't know Nas' life. But I wouldn't think so. I mean, man's out here in Silicon Valley making millions, you know?
Right.
Venture capitalist.
You're right. So you actually hit it on the head, though. You said that. Because I don't know when it was recorded either. And it sounds like you said, whenever we think of Lost Tapes, I just think of it being like you said, scrapped ideas or tracks he had laying around. Like, put this out. And that's kind of what I got from it.
And I mean, I hate to say it, but it's like I felt like he was maybe talking about Hov in a couple spots on here, and that also makes me think that the album is a little bit old. I mean, there was one very clearly that he was talking about. Well, he was talking about Carmen, but of course, that related back to Hov or whatever. It's like, I don't know that
2000 signing or something like that. Like I signed and then I did something. It was
that was another track. Okay. But there was one track he was talking about. The first verse was all about Carmen doing him wrong or whatever, and she wrote a book about him and blah 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 blah.
Okay.
It's tough. It's tough sell.
What'd you?
I rated this album out 77.
Okay, I got it 72. Okay. So, Nas fans, get in here. If you give it 100, you're absolutely right. We just want to know why. Was I too high, too low? Was Kev too high, too low? We'll go from there. But this is Nate Air.
This Kev.
And, we're Games Music Life, man. Drink more water, people.
Peace.
Peace.